Hi, everybody. Jason Schwartz with Not 10 Yacht Sales coming to you from the home office today in New Jersey. We're quickly approaching the end of the boating season. Today is, in fact, November 11th, Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there, and thank you for what you do for us. And I've had some time for reflection as we enter the end of the season, and had some feedback and some thoughts. And I think if you're someone that's thinking about selling your boat, hopefully you'll find a nugget or two in here that's helpful as you think about next spring, as you think about what you could do over the winter time to prepare your boat and to get it ready to give you the best opportunity to sell it quickly and also sell it for the most money that the market will bear. I mean, that's really the idea here behind what I do for a living and behind the advice that I give you today. So there was a couple of areas that I wanted to cover based on some experiences this year. And as I think about the boats that we were successful selling and the ones that are still for sale, and the reasons why for both. So I thought I would share a little bit of that with you. So something that is coming up more and more often, number one, is service records. It really is important in terms of not only selling your boat and not losing a potential buyer, but also getting more money for your boat than you would get for it otherwise. And I'll use an example. I'll use myself as this example. I have a sea trial and a survey on a boat tomorrow that I'm hoping to buy for myself. It's obviously under contract at this point. It's a 27-foot center console. And as I was considering making an offer, I repeatedly asked the broker for service records. And he was really reluctant to go back to the owner and ask for them. Eventually he did, because I'm quite persistent, and he had to go back and ask more than once. Now, this particular owner took very good care of this boat and did all the proper service, but you need to be able to illustrate that. You can't just say that. So if you keep a logbook, maybe you're someone that does the service yourself, and that's fine. If you keep a logbook with very good notes, that's what I did with the boat behind me there that I owned for 22 years that I sold a year and a half ago. The last 12 years I owned that boat, I didn't hire a mechanic once. I did all the work myself. I did everything that should be done. But because I maintained a logbook over that 22-year period of time, it was very obvious to the buyer that I had done all the things that should be done. Now, in the case of this boat that I'm buying, hopefully with the sea trial and the survey tomorrow, this was someone that paid for service. So it's even easier for him to document and illustrate that he's done everything that he should have done with the boat. But since he didn't keep the receipts, he just had to make 3 phone calls to the 3 different yards or mechanics that had done the service on the boat. So once he did that and he provided all those invoices to me, I went ahead and put this together. And this is just a 1-page summary of the service that he has done just over the last couple of years when he did most of the service. Now, there's a pair of 150 Yamaha outboards on this boat. All right, so this is outboard service. So the things that are important for me to see are things like these motors have 1,400 hours. So, I want to see that the timing belt was changed at roughly 1,000 hours. I want to see that he's replaced the thermostats within the last couple of years, that he's done regular oil changes on the lower unit as well as the motor oil, that he's changed the on-engine fuel filter as well as the water separators, which is your secondary fuel filters, the thermostats, so on and so forth. So all that had been done, and it had all been done over the winter of 2024 and 2025. Now, if this service can't be documented to me, that means as soon as I buy the boat, I'm going to have to spend about $5,000 in doing all of the maintenance because I have to assume these things haven't been done. So that impacted my offer. I definitely, once he showed me this, I definitely made an offer of $4,000 more than I would have if he wasn't able to document this to me. So again, he sent me the invoices, which are in here. I put together this summary. And one of the reasons I did this summary is because I like to just have one page where I can see everything. And also as a reference going forward, I put all of the part numbers on here for everything. So when I replace the thermostats in the future and the water pump repair kits, I've already got the part numbers right there. So, and it's also going to help me when I sell the boat in the future. If those motors are still on the boat, I'll be able to show the history before I owned the boat. So this is extremely valuable. I encourage you over the winter time to do this. If you're thinking of selling your boat in the spring, take the time to do this. Get your receipts in order if you don't have a logbook. One more example. This is hard to see. This is actually a current customer of mine on my YouTube channel there. This is the 444 Carver. This is a 2001. Now, this is a boat with inboard diesel engines in it. And for those of you out there that are familiar with diesel engines, you know it's very important to do the 1,000-hour service, around 1,000 hours. And the estimates to do a 1,000-hour service on 2 diesel engines, these are Cummins, whether it's Cummins or Volvo or Caterpillars, $15,000 to $20,000 is a conservative estimate. And that's when everything goes exactly according to plan. All right, it's very easy to spend that amount of money. Now, in this scenario, he did a great job of creating this one page, which captures everything, and he has all the receipts to support this. You really do want to have both. Okay, but what was nice about this is when buyers came to look at this boat and I could show them this level of detail, this was really compelling. And it really spoke to the value of the price that we were asking for this boat. The only reason this boat hasn't sold, in my opinion, and it is priced correctly, is that we listed it in September. And this boat's located in New York, so we only had about a month. I have no doubt that when he launches this boat and commissions it next year, this boat is going to sell very quickly. I expect it to sell in May. But look, what's important here is when you go through this, you start to see that he didn't just do a 1,000-hour service. He actually replaced aftercoolers. He actually replaced heat exchangers. And the reason for that is when they do a 1,000-hour service and they pull these components, they pressure test them, they take a look at them, and they may decide and recommend to the owner, we can't really save this part, it should be replaced. So his 1,000-hour service turned into a $45,000 job over the course of that winter from 2020 to 2021. Being able to document this there's so much value in this. I can't stress it enough. So take the time to do this because it's going to help you not only differentiate your boat from the other boats that are out there, but it's also going to help you get a little more money for your boat as well. All right, so that's enough on logbooks and service history. Spend some time on that in advance of when you list your boat. Now, I'll make one other comment about it. This boat that I'm buying, it's a center console, 27 foot. What if there are other buyers that had made offers, I'm told, on this boat? Would they have made a stronger offer if these service records were on the boat? If every time someone came to look at the boat, the broker could say before they left, here, I want you to see the service, and they could see this level of detail, wouldn't that maybe have generated a stronger offer? So again, I think I made my point in that regard, but take the time to do that. It doesn't take that long to put that together, and it's absolutely worth it. A couple other things that I want to talk about if you're thinking about selling your boat and you're thinking about getting it ready. I sold one boat this year that was not commissioned and in the water. I have a few that were on the hard, on land, in a boatyard. We're not commissioned this year. We're not cleaned. It's extremely difficult. It really is. I understand that if you're quote unquote done with the boat, you want to move on, maybe you even purchase your next boat or you're getting out of boating. But if you're not commissioning the boat for the season, if you're not putting it in the water, it does not make for a good buying experience. And you need to be competitive right now. You're really giving the other boats an upper hand. And you're really, in my opinion, shortcutting the final step in the process of boat ownership. You bought the boat, you used the boat. This is the final step in the cycle. And, if you try to shortcut it and just call a broker in March and say, look, I don't want to pay the thousands of dollars to rent a slip this year, you're probably going to regret it. If you can, rent the slip for the season, fully commission the boat, detail the boat like you would any other year, and try to enjoy it. Even if for your circumstances, I understand, for whatever reason you can't use the boat or whatever it may be. In these examples, with some of these other boats that didn't sell this year, now it's November and they're paying for winter storage and they're paying to have it shrink wrapped again. And, they would have been just better off just getting ahead of it in May, get the boat in the water early in the season, have it fully commissioned, and probably would have sold by June, and they could have moved on. So again, try not to shortcut that part of boat ownership. This is the last final step, and I recommend that you continue to do everything that you've been doing for years with the boat. And then the last item I wanted to touch on is, in terms of, where maybe you should spend some money, and where maybe you shouldn't spend money. At the end of the day, if you're selling a boat, right, you don't want to make a reinvestment in the boat that's not going to return at least that amount of money, unless you have to sell it. So priority number one is everything that is designed to work on the boat should work. So if you have a radar that doesn't work, if you have a windlass that doesn't work, if you have a generator that doesn't work, you should really try to solve those problems the best you can so that everything works the way that it's intended to work. If for whatever reason, you've decided that you don't want to, or you can't make that investment to fix something, then you really do need to account for that in the price, and you do need to spell it out in the listing. There's no reason not to mention it in the listing. When people come to see the boat, they're going to learn that the generator doesn't work. So spell it out in the listing and price it accordingly. So that's priority number one. Really try to fix everything that doesn't work. Now, in terms of cosmetic features that I think will give you a return on your investment, I think are important. I mean, definitely have the boat detailed, top sides, the hull, the bright work, have it rubbed down, have it waxed. At least do that at the beginning of the season. And that's critically important. I don't think that costs that much money. And I do think you get your return on that. Now, if you have a cabin, if your boat's not a center console, right, and you have a cabin, you have carpet, you probably have an enclosure, isinglass with maybe a bimini top. I would say that those are the two things to focus on. When you walk into a cabin and the carpet is old, it's just like selling a house, I think. If you bought houses before and it wasn't a new home, I mean, when you walk into a house and it's brand new flooring or it's brand new carpet, even though it may be a house that's 20, 30, 40 years old, it looks great and it makes a big difference. So with the carpet, I'm not saying that it has to be replaced. Hire a professional that's going to come in with professional equipment and clean that carpet. When that carpet is clean inside of a cabin, that really does make a big difference. And I don't think that costs too much. So that would be number one. And then number two is the enclosure. And those are not cheap. I know they're not. But anytime, if your enclosure is more than 10 years old and it's to the point where it has that haziness to it and you can barely see through it, and you have to roll it up just to see through it to operate the vessel, anybody that comes to look at your boat knows that they're going to have to replace that, and they're going to go out and price it. And it could easily be anywhere from $5,000 to, if you have a big aft cabin boat with a lot of isinglass, could be $13,000, $14,000. They're going to deduct that directly from the price. So I when that isinglass is new as well, I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, you have to admit, it's great. And it is a big differentiator for you between your boat and other boats that they're considering. Another boat you'll see on my YouTube channel that's for sale right now is that Grady White, and that boat is in excellent condition, really super clean. And I said to the owner when we listed that the first week of September, I said, the one thing that you might want to consider is replacing this isinglass enclosure. And it's not much on that boat because he has glass along the sides, not just a windshield in the front, but along the sides. So it was really just a few panels around the back of the helm. It still costs close to $4,000, but the zippers were ripped. It was just, 13 years old, I think. But that looks fantastic now with the brand new enclosure on there. So, and that's pretty much it. So that's what I would focus on. You've got a few months here if you're in the New York, New Jersey area before March rolls around. It won't be too far from now. But those would be the items I would recommend. If you do those things and you do price it correctly, you should be in a good place to good position to sell your boat. Feel free to call me anytime or reach out to me as well. I'm happy to talk all winter long. If I can provide any advice from my experience, I'm happy to do it. And have a great holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.